Good morning, members, and welcome to this meeting of the full licensing committee here at BCP. First of all, can I call upon the officer just to run through the housekeeping measures, please?
Thank you, Chair. Please note that this meeting is being recorded by the Council for live broadcast and will be published on the Council website for a minimum of 6 months. The meeting may also be recorded or streamed for live or subsequent broadcast by members of the public, although ultimate discretion in this matter lies with the Chair in case of disruption. For those in the room, please note that if the fire alarm sounds, please exit the building by way of the nearest available signed fire exit route and make your way to the assembly point at the War Memorial in the gardens opposite the front of this building. Finally, please ensure background noise is kept to a minimum and mobile phones and other devices are turned off or switched to silent for the duration of the meeting. For those in the room, this includes turning off microphones and turning down the volume completely on your laptops.
Thank you. Item 1 on this morning's agenda, apologies. Do we have any apologies for absence?
Yes, Chair. Apologies for absence received from Councillor Williams and Councillor Paul Hilliard. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm not sure if there's problems on the roads this morning, but we're obviously short on numbers, so we may expect some members to join as we progress through the meeting. Item 2, substitute members.
None received.
Thank you. Item 3, members, declarations of interest. Do we have any declarations of interest with regards to the agenda items this morning at all? Thank you. Item 4, confirmation of minutes. To confirm and sign as a correct record the minutes of the licensing committees held on the 18th of September, the 22nd of October, and the licensing subcommittees held on the 10th, 16th and 24th of September, the 2nd and 30th of October and the 12th of November. Are members happy that I sign those as a true and correct record? Members agree? Thank you. Item 5, public issues.
None received.
Thank you. Item 6, moving on to item 6, to agree a draft pleasure boat and boat person policy for public consultation. Can I ask Nananka if she'd be kind enough to present the report, please?
My colleague Ellie King is going to present it.
Ellie, the floor's all yours.
Good morning. This is the first draft of the BCP Pleasure Boat Licensing Policy. Historically, the legacy authorities responsible for this function did not have a formal policy in place. The licensing of pleasure boats applies only to inland waters within Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole, and specifically Poole and Christchurch harbours and the key areas. In December 2023, an initial draft of this policy was presented to this committee and agreed. However, it was never subject to public consultation. Following the tragic incident on Bournemouth Beach and the subsequent inquest, it was considered inappropriate to progress this policy at that time. Since then, officers have used the time to engage with Poole Harbour Master and BCP Council officers responsible for the Christchurch Quay area. Members should note that this policy applies only to small-powered pleasure craft hired to members of the public or skippered vessels carrying up to 12 passengers within harbour areas. It does not cover vessels operating at sea or along our coastline. Those are outside of our remit and are the responsibility of the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency. The purpose of the pleasure boat licensing regime is to ensure that boats and powered personal watercraft are tested and maintained to ensure that they are safe to use and that businesses hold appropriate insurance and that the staff are adequately trained. The policy sets out the requirements for both new applications and renewals, as well as the conditions to be attached to those licenses. Pleasure boats are valid, licenses are valid for 1 year and must be renewed prior to expiry, and boat person licenses are valid for 3 years. On application, the following documents must be supplied. For pleasure boats, a basic DBS for anybody skippering the vessel, a hiring company or site manager, an annual inspection form from an approved boat inspector, and evidence of a minimum of £5 million worth of public liability insurance. Additionally, Class B boats, which are the skippered craft carrying no more than 12 passengers, must also provide the name and boat person licence number of anybody who will be skippering the boat and a plan of the boat showing the locations of safety equipment. Class C boats, which are the self-hire ones, details of safety boat and skipper or details of alternative arrangements for retrieving hirers in the event of an emergency. These arrangements largely mirror the existing process. The only addition to the existing process for these are the need to require to provide a basic DBS, the names of the skippers, the plan of the Class B boats, and the safety boat information. So the existing process hasn't changed dramatically. For boat person licences, applicants must provide a medical certificate, a first aid certificate, basic DBS, and approved boat handling certificate with commercial endorsement. This policy requires that skippers of all boats and safety boats hold a boat person licence, which is a significant deviation from the existing process. Additionally, the requirement to produce medical, first aid and DBS certificates and boat handling qualifications is new. It's being introduced with this policy. We welcome comments and feedback, and we will ensure that those impacted by these proposals are included in the consultation to ensure a balanced approach. Without question, the introduction of this policy will generate additional work for BCP Council and applicants. However, we believe it's the right thing to do and will improve oversight and enhance passenger safety. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellie. I'd just like to say thank you very much for the additional consultation with during the period that we had because of the tragedy. And I think the reason we did that was because we felt that whilst it was sensitive, there was concern that members of the public might not understand the difference between the ocean-going vessels and the harbour vessels, which we have the responsibility for. So my thanks for that. Members, do members have any comments or with regard to the proposal? Councillor Richardson.
Yeah, sorry if this is a silly question. What's the exact definition of a boat person?
Yes.
So a boat person essentially is anybody that will be skippering any of our licensed boats or somebody who is skippering a safety boat. So safety boats will be provided where people are safety boats will be provided for those when boats are hired out for self-drive. Then the safety boat must be available to go and retrieve people if they have a problem. They will also need to be a boat person. So it's anybody that's skippering any vehicle, any boat that we license.
So it's not private people with their own boats?
No.
Okay, yeah.
I think, members, there is a glossary of terms set out in Appendix A. And I think basically a skipper, I'm fairly certain, they are required to hold a RYA, a Royal Yachting Association, skipper's licence or certificate or equivalent. I think that's the basis, to be able to pilot a boat. Councillor Chapman.
Yeah, no, I'm greatly in support of this. I'm a pretty regular user of Poole Harbour and its approaches, and it is you see a lot of people out there, renting pleasure craft and that sort, the jet skis and that sort of stuff, and it is nice to know that they are being properly maintained, and the people that are around the self hires are qualified and have the appropriate insurance and qualifications in order to make sure that those people are safe. Poole Harbour is not the most dangerous harbour in the world. It doesn't have massive tidal flows like some others, but it can still be, it can get pretty gnarly, especially when the big boats are coming in and out as well.
Councillor Finer.
Yes, thank you. It's a really good report. I'm still not clear about inland waters and not inland waters. So is the water which is off Bournemouth Beach inland or ocean, or is it sort of inland to a certain point and then becomes ocean?
So for the purposes of the policy, essentially any coastal water, so Bournemouth Beach, all of that area is not within the remit of this policy. We only cover the licence because that will be deemed to be going to sea, essentially. So what we only will cover is Poole and Christchurch Harbour areas and inland waters from there. We don't cover anything in relation to the coastal waters around Bournemouth.
Thank you. So the terrible tragedy that happened off Bournemouth Pier wouldn't be covered by this anyway?
Absolutely not.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Councillor Chapman Hall.
Yeah, but then it is still covered by the Coast Guard agency. So just because they're not inside the harbours, they're still to run a larger boat like the one that that's got more than 12 anyway. So that'd be covered by the Coast Guard, even if it was inside Poole Harbour. There are standards which those boats have to abide by, which are pretty high standards. It's quite difficult to get those standards. Operating outside of a harbour. So yeah.
Thank you. That's good to know.
Thank you, Councillor, for that. Any further questions? No. Any debate at all with regards to the proposal? So
I'd like to say how clear this was, what an easy report to understand, Chairman. We have some reports which are quite arcane and difficult, but that was so clear and so concise, and thank you very much. It was easy to read and easy to understand. Thank you.
thank you for that. Okay, so the recommendation this morning is A, agree the draft policy as presented, or B, agree any amendments to the draft policy, and C, agree to public consultation for 6 weeks of the agreed draft policy. This will take place early 2026 to avoid the Christmas period. Members? So I'm happy to propose from the chair then that we agree the draft policy as presented and agree to public consultation for 6 weeks of the agreed draft policy as set out. Members happy with that?
Everyone in favour?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Unanimous. Moving on then to item 7, the forward plan. Nanenka, please.
Thank you. So first item on the forward plan is this item that we've just made the decision on. It's the pleasure boats policy. So as you said, the consultation will be in early 2026. We're looking at probably starting with the consultation team, having a chat yesterday, possibly starting the 5th of February for 6 weeks, which would then mean that the consultation, the policy will come back to you for discussion with the consultation results, potentially the 20th of May. But that was obviously dependent on the work of the team as well, and if we can get it to you and properly. I don't want to do it fast, I'll just do it. So we would then look at the policy being in 2026.
Can I ask, is that in order for the consultation team to sort out the IT and everything else for the consultation?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
obviously the consultation runs for the 6 weeks, and then they have to do a report that then comes to us. We obviously then have to look at the report, assess the report, and then provide you with a report, which obviously takes officer time. If we can get it then, that would be great. If not, it would be the 17th of September. But yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed. So that would be on the forward plan. And then item 2 is the review of licensing fees. Again, we've asked for that to be put on for the 12th of March, 2026, again, because it takes a lot of time to do. And we needed the accountant's information following the budget. So I didn't have time to get it to this meeting today. And that's everything on the forward plan. And then we've just got the committee briefings and training sessions, which have been provided for. So we've done the subcommittee hearings, refresher training in March. We've done the SEV application renewals training and briefing for members in March. Today, after this, we will be doing the chair training for current and prospective chairs for subcommittees. And item 4 on there is the cumulative impact zone briefing. It's scheduled for March. There has been a significant shift in government stance. You know, we've got the new licensing framework that was published, which is sort of, and it would look like we're no longer looking to implement or support the work, go ahead with the cumulative impact zone. So whether you still want that training or not, I would ask members to make that decision.
Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you, Nananka. That is a really good point. So I've been following some of the changes from government and the licensing framework. I think it might be more appropriate now for us to have a briefing on the legislative changes and the upcoming framework rather than cumulative impact, which was very relevant last time we sat, but things move very quickly.
Yeah, that's fine. So I'll provide something with regard to the national licensing framework and the updated section 182 guidance document, which was also published within the last couple of weeks.
Would you, in the meantime, be able to potentially direct members to sources of information so we can brief ourselves?
Not a problem at all. Other things that are on the horizon that we might want to think about scheduling in for next year will be around the tobacco and vapes bill and potential licensing regime that would be being introduced, and obviously the proposals under the devolution with regard to national standards in taxis, which is a bit unfortunate because we've just done our policy. But you know, it's something that we might need to reconsider once those are published.
Thank you. Any further questions at all? Right, I'd just like to say thank you for the update that you provided by email. Members all received that, I'm sure. Thank you for that. Are members happy to agree the forward plan? Yeah, great. Thank you.
Agreed.
Right, there being no further business to conduct, I declare the meeting closed. Thank you very much. Thank you.